Hey guys, Melissa Hinault here. Welcome to my LinkedIn boot camp. First and foremost, I just want to congratulate you guys for diving in and learning something new. I just, about 2 years ago was at a stagnant spot in my own business. I had hit six figures as a network marketing professional, and everything I was trying, everything I'd been applying to Facebook and Instagram slowly stopped working. And I was banging my head against the wall. And that's when I decided to resort to the experts in LinkedIn and invested a lot of time, a lot of money in training and how to build my brand and build my business and how to recruit for my business on LinkedIn. And so what you're going to find in my training over the next couple of days is a series of modules that takes you from beginning to end, breaking down how to create just a stellar profile, headline, content, and then we're going to dive into really how to interact with potential customers and how to attract them and how to provide value, right? And how to find those avatars. And so I hope that you find this training very valuable and useful. I want to start by just taking a step back and recognizing how LinkedIn is different, how it is different from the other social media platforms. And a lot of it has to do with being laser focused on your potential client, right? So the thing about Instagram and Facebook is that the average user is about 21, 22 years old, and they range anywhere from literally 4 to 5 years old that parents have made accounts for their kids to our great grandparents age who are in there, following their great grandchildren and grandchildren, right? Which is great. It's a place for people to play. It's for people to be entertained. Think about for yourself, what do you go to social media for, Instagram and Facebook? Most people go there to be entertained. Now, 2 or 3 years ago, before social selling was really a big thing, I built a six-figure business on Facebook, honestly. And the problem is our networks and people on these platforms in general are numb to being sold. They are numb to the approach, the network marketer. They are numb to the push of the product, right? And so, and not only that, your user is such a hodgepodge in age, in earning or purchasing power. Now, I want you to put Instagram and Facebook in one bucket of broad range age, broad range earning potential, and kind of over being sold in their feed, right? Now, I want you to look at LinkedIn for a minute. Now, there's less people who use LinkedIn for sure, but it's the right people for most of you and your businesses. Here's why. They have purchasing power. The average income of the user of LinkedIn is about $100,000 a year. Okay, they have purchasing power for your products, whether it's real estate, financial advisory, or if it's someone you want to, coach as a coaching client. Or if you want to partner with them as a business builder like me in network marketing, right? I'm looking for people who are just burnt out of their 9 to 5, right? And looking for different financial opportunity. But I'm looking for people who want a lot out of life, who want to make a lot of money, right? So that's where LinkedIn is like Pandora's box. Also, people go to LinkedIn to be motivated and be inspired and to learn and have value added. And that's where you're going to get a chance to build your brand and your expertise before asking for the sale through LinkedIn, right? And the average age is between 35 and 40. So these are people in like the workforce with purchasing power. And so I just want you to take into consideration that also with LinkedIn, their algorithms aren't so wonky. Instagram and Facebook have come to a place where you can post something and it's not viewed by hardly anyone. Whereas the visibility, just last week, I made a post and it got 2,800 views. I want you guys to keep that in mind, 2,800 views. And we're going to talk about why that's possible in just a little bit, okay? So those are a little bit of facts about LinkedIn before we dive in. One activity I want you to do today, so I want you to go Google yourself and see what shows up in Google. Google yourself and see what shows up. I guarantee you in the first 3 hits is going to be your LinkedIn profile if you've created one. Now I want to ask you, do you like what you see? Is it representing your business? Is it, if you had a potential client come into your, Google you right now, go into your LinkedIn page, would they be able to navigate your expertise and within a couple of clicks understand what you're about, your value proposition, and would it lead them to another landing page where your web page is, or maybe a video about your product? And if not, you're in good hands, and it's a good thing you purchased this boot camp for this week, right? Because every entrepreneur, business owner needs to have a very polished LinkedIn profile. Okay, it is your virtual business card, because when people go in there, they're going to see that you've been endorsed. They're going to see your career history. They're going to have access to videos that maybe you've been interviewed or endorsed by, right? So you're in the right space if you are an entrepreneur looking to expand and take your business to the next level. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is bear with me for just a moment while I share my screen, and I'm going to take you to my LinkedIn profile. Okay, so let's start here. So I'm going to be your tour guide for a couple of minutes and just orient you to some of the basics, because some of you are brand new. Over to the left, you'll see this is my name, and this is my header. We're going to talk about the header in a minute. And in the middle, you'll see this is the feed. Just like Instagram or Facebook, there's a feed with LinkedIn, and people that I'm connected to, when they make posts, I can see what goes in the feed. Now, what's really cool is that even if it's if there's someone I'm connected to and they've read something really interesting, if they comment or like a post, then it comes into my feed because we are connected second level. And so that actually expands my visibility to another layer of a network, because someone I'm personally connected to has liked something that now that person's post comes through my feed. And if I see their profile and it sounds like they'd be a great connection, now I have the opportunity to connect with them. And we'll talk more about that. Now, we're at the home button, so you can always come here to get yourself oriented. This is your network button. So this is going to show you who you are connected to, and LinkedIn's also going to give you some ideas down here on who you can connect with. We'll talk more about that in another module. I'm just giving you an overview here. Now, the jobs button, so this is historically what people think of Instagram for, because this has been around for the last decade. This is what people think of with LinkedIn. Sorry, I think I said Instagram. This is what people think of with LinkedIn, where you go look for jobs. And that was so a decade ago. It is a playhouse for entrepreneurs now. Next tab is messaging. So just like Instagram, just like Facebook, we have a messaging platform, and you can see in the bold I have lots of messages I need to follow up on because I'm very active over here. And then you have the notifications tab, just like, guess what, Instagram and Facebook. You get notified of activity within your network and your account when people comment or like on something that you've done. Now, over to the far right, I want you to see this little, you see my little bubble head. I want you guys to click on this first and foremost, day one, and I want you to go to settings and privacy. I want you guys to be set up for success as you're playing with your accounts this week. And when you go in here, I want you to click on edit your public profile. And when you do that, this shows you what the public can see, right? So I personally have occasionally had some weirdos send me messages from the public domain because I have my email address available. And it kind of weirds me out. So people can be kind of weird. So I have my photo is actually not available, but for the public domain, but everything about me is available. 9 times out of 10, people are very professional and very polished, especially within the LinkedIn domain itself. But when you get outside of the platform, people can be a little bit creepy. So over here to the right, you can edit your visibility. So my profile, this is over to the left, is what is available for anyone to look up and see on me. And we'll talk about this in depth later. But what you can see is you see kind of the about, my story, but also I have my website. I have my email address, I have my website, and people can actually book a discovery call with me. And they can see a little bit about my activity. Now, over here to the far right, you can change your profile public visibility. And this is, I wanted to get this training in up front. It can be, everyone can see your name and number of connections in your region. But if you, as far as your photo, your profile photo goes, if you want it to be specific to just your network, you can toggle on that, or you can make it all LinkedIn members, or if you want to go all public, by all means, go all public. Also, I want you to see up top, this is your URL, and this you can copy and paste into your website or any other platform where you want a link where people can click on it and take you directly to your LinkedIn profile. So I have that on my website. So if people go to my website to learn about me, they can quickly be redirected to my LinkedIn page where they can see my endorsements and testimonies and connections, and just validate that what I'm saying I do, I actually do, right? Okay. So the next thing that we really need to get to talking about is this profile section here. I want to talk for a minute about also your settings when you add a profile section. So when you're creating your profile and you're adding information, and again, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of this, but I want the full disclosure in the beginning so that you guys are not filling your feed with edits. So where I'm going with this is when you start playing with this and exploring with it, let's say you want to add some experience. I just want you to be very clear that down here is a little button that says share with your network. So this week we're going to be playing a lot with LinkedIn. And so maybe you don't want every edit to be pushed through your feed. So you know how people change a photo on Facebook or Instagram and they change something in there and it comes to the feed? If they change a bunch of things, it just fills their feed and it can become a little bit obnoxious. So you may want to shift that to off for some of your edits. If you're making a big change that you want everyone to see, by all means, leave it on. But I just want to put that disclaimer out there for all of you. Okay. Now, what I'm going to talk about for the remainder of this overview has everything to do with your photos and with your headline. Okay. Your photo needs to be at least 60% of the profile photo. So you see here, if you click on me, the majority of that bubble is my head, okay? I'm going to show you why this is important in a minute. You want also, we're professionals here, so you don't want to have photos where you were like, maybe it was a great photo of you, but you're standing beside your husband or your ex-boyfriend and like you've cropped the photo and you can still see like a human's arm in the photo. Guys, we're business owners. We have to be professional. It may take you 10 minutes to have a friend come over to your house or a spouse, get some good lighting, get a great headshot of just you because you're wanting to attract the professionals, right? You're wanting to attract the next customer. I'm going to share with you in a minute why that's important. But secondly is this piece right up top. This is a background photo. Now, right now, I am honed in on recruiting for my LinkedIn Bootcamp. I'm in the midst of enrollment. It closes out in 2 or 3 days. So I want to make sure if anybody looks me up, this is what they see today. Now, my 9 to 5, like my main business that I hustle is in network marketing. And as soon as I'm done with my recruitment for this LinkedIn training, I'll go back to that profile and I'll share that with you guys. But for now, you know, whatever you're marketing and whatever you're recruiting for, you want it to be very clear when people come to your page that of what you do and what you represent. And so that's why I have my LinkedIn piece here. And lastly is the descriptor of your header. So Your header follows you everywhere you go in LinkedIn. And I'm going to show this to you in just a minute and how critical it is, okay? Your header needs to describe maybe key accomplishments that you've accomplished, value proposition, what value you could bring a client, because that's what they're going to see of you. And I'm going to share this with you in just a minute. Or maybe you're trying to build a brand right now. Go ahead and own that ownership and influence and put that verbiage in with your header, right? So if you're looking to become a health coach or a life coach or a business coach, own it and claim it and put it in your header, okay? So one of the exercises that I'm going to leave you guys with today, so the first exercise was, what was the first exercise? I need you to go in and make sure your settings are proper for making your changes, right? But secondly, I want you to, and to go Google yourself, right? So go Google yourself and see what you see. But the next thing I want you to do as we wrap up this first training and you finish this video is I want you to put pen to paper before you really start scribing and coming down with your descriptor for your headline, which is this piece right here. I want you to begin thinking about who is your ideal client or who is your ideal prospect, right? And how is the descriptor of who you are or the value proposition that you offer, how is that going to attract your avatar? How is it going to attract your consumer that you're looking for? So you really want to put pen to paper and just start brainstorming and writing the descriptor of the ideal client and what you have to offer on paper as we wrap this up. And when you're done with that and you've really brainstormed what your title and your headline is going to be to attract those people, then you want to get it really tight and put it into your LinkedIn headline. And I'm going to share with you now why this is so important. So if you go to, I'm going to go home, and I want to share with you, let's go back to, so the photos. So see this chick here, Ashley? She hasn't followed the rule of making it at least 60% of her face. And so really what you're seeing is a small portion of her face, and she's sitting in a chair, and there's a lot of her body, right? Gary Vee, you see, is more distinct. Gary Vee, I can definitely see who he is. Paul Findling, his face is definitely there, right? Now, why this becomes important is because when you begin to get into conversation and banter with someone, so let me look up someone. Gary Vee actually might be a really great one because people usually have a lot to comment with him. Let's see, hang on just a second. So let's go to Gary's post. Okay, so Gary has 115 posts. So this guy clearly has a lot of influence. If you don't know who Gary Vee is, he's huge, right? So if you're going to make a comment or if you're going to make a comment on someone's post, just be aware that for people who have a huge following, when you comment, it now becomes visible on his page of thousands upon thousands upon thousands who follow him, right? And so it can become a commercial for you, okay? And so just follow me on this journey. When you click on his 15 comments, what's interesting is, so you can see Renee has, you can really see her head, right? But now look at Charlie. Charlie is connected to someone else and he's shaking their hand. He has no brand recognition there, right? So when you're trying to create your own brand on LinkedIn and you want to really have that personal brand, you want your face, this is, your head follows you with every comment. See, every comment these people make, their heads pop up, right? Now, so if you have a photo beside someone else, you have no brand recognition, no personal brand recognition, okay? Secondly, look at Joan. Joan's headline is marketing, right? So Joan is not getting any business by typing, ha ha, I listen to him so much, the accent is not even there anymore. So she's in a conversation. First of all, her title is marketing, her headline's marketing, and you cannot see anything about her. So clearly, this marketing person is not trying to market their own personal brand. And if they are, they're doing a really, really, really poor job of it, right? Versus Gwendolyn, her face is recognizable. She's created some good conversation and she's got a reply back. People get into these heated conversations. If you really start following some people who are really influential within your sphere of influence, you'll find that when you make comments, people, if they see if they can get into conversation with you, and they attract like prospects, because if you're in banter with people who are influential in your network, then they're attracting similar prospects. So you can get into conversation and add value to the conversation and begin to have your head pop up and create brand for yourself. But what's cool is not only does your head pop up, but your headline does too. So let me show you. Gary Vee says strategy is important, but a lot of people and teams over debate strategy and use it as an excuse for not taking action. I'm going to say, having been in corporate America for 10 years, I couldn't agree more. Now here's what's cool. When I hit post, what do you see? You see my head, it's very visible, my personal brand, but look at my headline, built a sustainable six-figure business through the power of LinkedIn. Now, right now at this moment, I am trying to recruit people to coach them on how to leverage LinkedIn. So do you think that when people go through the comments and conversation and they see my head, they get a quick little insert of what I'm about? And when you hover over, it says coaching others on how to leverage LinkedIn for freedom. It's enough to catch their interest, and they may want to click on me to go find out more. And that's when they're going to scroll, okay, and start learning more about me. So I'm going to wrap up my first training session with, again, challenging you, go Google yourself. Do you like what you see on LinkedIn? And then I want you to think about this headline right here, okay? When you're in the thick of it and you're in the comment section and you're networking with people within your sphere of influence, I'm going to be challenging you guys to really get in there with some highly influential people with your field. If people see you in conversation, is your headline going to attract them to you? How do you attract your avatar to you? Whether it's real estate, whether it's investments, whether it's network marketing, right? How are you articulating yourself? So I'll give you an example. Before I was recruiting for LinkedIn, this is what my headline says. Corporate dropout, changing the future for motivated, burnt out professionals looking to squeeze the juice out of life. Now I have personally, I'm just going to go ahead and say I've really locked down a phenomenal descriptor for myself. I attract a lot of people with that title. And what I do is I get into, I've found the influencers within my industry of pharmacy and corporate America and get into some conversations with people about burnout. And when I do, they see my title and they instantly click on my profile and want to learn more, right? So who is your avatar? What problem are you trying to solve for them? What value proposition do you have? What can you put in your headline to attract them to you to look further into your profile? So that is your homework for today. I hope this has been beneficial, and I can't wait to dive into more of the summary and the sections and how to really tighten that up with our next training.